Hello, good evening. This is The Point of View. You are live on City TV. My name is Duke Menso Poku, sitting in for your regular host, Bernardino Koku Avle. On Point of View, we choose the right topics, we get the right guests, and we leave you with useful insights. Tonight, we are on probably the word that has been mentioned most in the vocabulary of Ghanaians today. And I'm talking about the Nation Builders Corps, NABCO. The president today commissioned 100,000 graduates, being the first recruits of the Nation Builders Corps program, NABCO, which was first launched on May 1st, May 2018 this year. But questions are being asked. Some people say it is probably the biggest intervention in terms of curbing the menace of graduate unemployment. Others also are raising questions of sustainability. Is there a workable exit plan for those who have been recruited? And so many other questions. That's what we would be seeking answers to tonight on the show On Point of View. The show is live and interactive via the WhatsApp line 055-058-583. The hashtag on Twitter is The Point of View, and you can also join us via the live stream on Facebook. Point of View is live. We'll take a break and we'll be back to delve into the issues. Don't go away. And you're welcome back to The Point of View on City TV. Tonight, we are talking the big NABCO debate, the Nation Builders Corps, which was commissioned. 100,000 graduates were commissioned today by the president to start work officially with regards to the 7 different modules that are being rolled out. Educate Ghana, Heal Ghana, Digitize Ghana, Enterprise Ghana, and a couple of others as well. We have the right guests in the studio who help us discuss the matters. But before I introduce my guests, let us take you to the Independence Square and see excerpts of the passing out ceremony this morning.
According to President Akufo-Addo, the NABCO initiative is meant to help address challenges facing the nation's most depressed economic sectors and at the same time provide jobs for graduates who are unable to find work. Each of the 100,000 recruits has been assigned to one of NABCO's 7 models: Civic Ghana, Revenue Ghana, Educate Ghana, Enterprise Ghana, Digitize Ghana, Heal Ghana, and Feed Ghana. The 100,000 selected recruits will be paid an amount of 700 cedis at the end of every month. President Akufo-Addo said NABCO will succeed despite its opposition from some quarters.
They are going to assist in the realization of government's vision of an educated population, an industrialized, robust, and well-managed economy, the delivery of good governance, and for the sustenance of all these, a reliable, skilled, and efficient workforce. We would have also addressed the very issue that keeps our graduates out of the labor market, in spite of their educational qualifications. The managers of the program have struck up a partnership with the Council for Technical, Vocational, and Educational Training, COTVET, and some universities, both domestic and foreign, for the validation of the content of the learning programs, so that the trainees receive appropriate certification of their skills and training for their deployment to the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, Information Services Department, Local Government Service, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. NABCO trainees must bear in mind the government is investing some 3 billion cedis of taxpayers' money into this program. Your monthly stipend of 700 Ghana cedis is not free money, and you must earn every peso of it through hard work and dedication, which I'm confident you will do. To the Ghanaian people, I say you will feel the presence and contribution of these 100,000 trainees in your towns and villages, your constituencies and districts, and in critical sectors of the economy. Work with them and believe that together we can build a progressive and prosperous nation, the equal of any on the face of the planet. I cannot conclude these brief remarks without paying tribute to the invaluable contribution to the take of this program by my brilliant Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, and his hard-working team.
Some of the recruits who spoke to City Newsroom could not hide their feelings.
In fact, I'm very, very happy. The motive being that ever since I completed, I've been at home for more than 5 years. And even the people around me telling them I'm going to work even releases me from my depression.
For me, I would say a little thing, regardless of anything. We thank the president for this opportunity given it to us, because being at the home is not an easy task. Me, I told myself, even if it was supposed to be 200 Ghana, I would do it. So I thank the president very much for giving me a job.
I thank the president very much for initiating this particular program, because it has helped us a lot. I, for instance, I completed school for almost 5 years without job. So for initiating this NABCO program, and I've been enrolled into the NABCO program, and I can boast of getting something out of it to feed myself and my family.
Okay, I'm very much excited about this, because it isn't easy being home unemployed. I graduated 2015, and I've been home since then till now. So this particular moment and what the government has done, I think I'm very much excited about it.
So that was Samuel Yafe's report. That was Samuel Yafe's report, essentially capturing what the mood was at the Independence Square today during the commissioning of the NABCO recruits. Now, let me introduce my guests to help me do the discussions this evening. Next to my immediate left is Dr. Ibrahim Anyass. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nation Builders Core Secretariat. So welcome, Dr. Anyass. Yes. Next to him is Richard Quashiga. He's Member of Parliament for Keta and the Deputy Ranking Member on Parliament's Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I begin with you, Dr. Anyass. According to a TUC report, every year 250,000 to 300,000 graduates are churned out by various, tertiary institutions in the country. ISE also posits that only 10% of these graduates that are churned out find jobs, and some of them could take up to 10 years for them to find jobs. Now, looking at the enormous nature of the challenge at hand, is NABCO the way out of this monstrous character of graduate unemployment? Dr. Anyass.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers, and honorable good evening too. So the whole essence of what we experience today in terms of the outdooring of the real people behind the statistics we've churned out previously. The scale of it was felt in real terms at the Independence Square today, when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo outdoored publicly after a rigorous process that led to this. 100,000 Nation Builders Core trainees to commence work in various sectors of the economy. Now, if you look at the statistics, sometimes conflicting. We've heard about the extent of unemployment across the youth cohort, and then you have some figures being quoted for the unemployed among the very skilled or qualified people from tertiary institutions. And oftentimes we look at these figures in global terms, and it doesn't help. For us, we took a very pragmatic approach in government that regardless of the conflicting statistics, at the core of this were real people who had real problems. if you have lived in any community lately, you'd realize the extent of the hopelessness, the despondency among young people. And, for anyone who was well-meaning, coming into government, we thought that something had to be done to deal with this, because people live and feel unemployment and the impact that has on them in society. So Nation Builders Corps, 100,000 job opportunities, makes a big difference. In terms of the scale of the unemployment problem, well, the attempt was to disaggregate the unemployment statistics so that we deal with the graduate cohort who are looking for particular kind of skill and particular kind of employment. And then you have those seeking the low or middle-level skilled jobs. And His Excellency the President in May indicated that that disaggregation was to affect the composition of the YEA in terms of the YEA dealing with the non-graduate cohort, and then the Nation Builders Corps was to deal or to target the unemployed among graduates. So we believe that 100,000 is a big difference. It makes a world of difference to the graduate unemployment figures. We opened the portal for a month. 100 from 1st of May to 1st of June, 175,000 people had signed up. But by the close of the portal, at midnight on the 1st of June, about 146,968 had completed the application and submitted. Now that means that currently the numbers that we're dealing with after the interviewing process and everything is now down to something like 127,000 people. And so whichever way you look at it, the scheme was oversubscribed. And you're still going to have people from those that expressed interest who will be out there seeking opportunities to work elsewhere. And so we believe that a difference would have been made. But the object long term was always to fight to develop the economy, grow the economy to an extent that those long-term sustainable jobs and permanent jobs will be made available for any young person who exits our tertiary institution.
But did it have to be outdoored with all this pomp and pageantry that we saw today?
I'm not sure what you're alluding to, but if it was this ceremony that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had. So listen, often what happens when schemes like this are crafted, there are all manner of skepticism about numbers that are being communicated to an extent that people cannot tell what the difference is to some extent. And often the attempt will be to suggest that, listen, this is just being cooked somewhere. It's never real.
So
a voluntary attempt was communicated. NABCO trainees, His Excellency the President wants to make a public statement of the work that has been going on over the period. We've finished evaluation, we've done selection, we're going on to institutional placement. We invited, and we sent out invites to all 100,000 people. A significant number of them showed up today at the Independence Square, and you saw them voluntarily on their own terms.
We've heard about people who were asked to pay 100 Ghana cedis, people who had to buy cloth and shirts compulsorily to be, ferried from all parts of the country to Accra for this ceremony.
That is your business as the media to have investigated every single aspect of this, because this never happened.
But as the manager of the program, you are saying that nothing of that sort ever happened?
At all. Listen, from the very beginnings of the NABCO, His Excellency the President has been very clear on his directive. No cost element was put on the scheme from the point of application through the appointments for interviews, to an extent that while we could have centralized the interviewing process from the capital of the country, we took that all the way to the district levels, and we had the interviews at 254 district locations with 5 panel members for a period of about 8 weeks. And so what you saw today, NABCO has never sanctioned an individual or a sum to be paid to any individual or groups of persons for any sort of favor or event or activity to be done on the scheme. It has never happened. That's why I said that lies within the bosom or remit of the media to have investigated at least to the very end and see that if money exchanged hands at any level, how did that happen and who sanctioned that? and somehow we'll get to the bottom of this. But for us, none of that has come to our attention in terms of people being compelled to make payments. Of course, people travel here. How else would they have traveled here? We didn't have to bus them. Voluntarily, we didn't have all 100,000 at the Independence Square. If we're charging, that would have been a compulsory levy on every single NABCO trainee. How would you discriminate on a certain number of NABCO trainees to pay and come to Accra, and then others to do what?
So your
it
answer
does not
is
make sense.
This was entirely a voluntary business.
It could not have been otherwise.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would have been a levy on every NABCO trainee,
right.
And that was not the case.
Let me go to Honorable Quashiga now. Obviously, you have concerns about this platform, but people would say that people from the minority and the NDC have absolutely no moral grounds to criticize an attempt to do something about graduate unemployment, because you were there for 8 years. It was under the Mills administration in 2010 that there was a freeze on the drafting of graduates into the civil service and other government institutions. You did virtually nothing about it, but you are raising concerns about this. What is the basis for your concerns over this NABCO matter?
I believe strongly that, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and all of this, Doc as well. I believe strongly that we elect governments for a reason. In 2016, the people of Ghana took a decision. And the decision they took was that they wanted the new patriotic party to lead this country or to govern this country under the leadership of Nana Akufo-Addo. And that message was loud and clear. And Nana Akufo-Addo told the people of Ghana that he was going to create jobs for young people. And that was largely the reason for which he was elected. And therefore, to say that we in the minority should have absolutely nothing to say about it, I beg to differ. Because
that was not my question. I didn't say you have not. I'm talking about the basis with which you are questioning that.
Yeah, well,
because you must come to that with a certain level of track record,
yeah,
at least for some level of believability
as
to the alternative you offer in terms of tackling the problem at hand.
Thank you. Now, clearly, even under the NDC, the unemployment situation was not this precarious. It was not what we are experiencing today.
On the graduate front?
Both graduates in general. But even to talk about YEA, NABCO is not anything new, largely. NABCO obviously was carved out of YEA. And so, therefore, it is nothing to celebrate. And I'm amazed at the level of pomp and pageantry that has heralded the launch of this particular program, which is in itself not innovative at all. In 2016, even under YEA, 115,000 young people, both graduate and non-graduate, were given jobs. And so if, for nothing at all, the NPP had come into office, the expectation would be that they would have even quadrupled this number, having campaigned on the wings of job creation. But what did we see in 2017? It plummeted to 62,000. And this year, we don't even know what the numbers are under YEA. Now you've decided to, according to Doctor, they want to disaggregate the unemployed persons into categories of graduates and non-graduates, so that the YEA will continue to handle the non-graduates and the NABCO will handle graduates.
Is there a challenge with that?
There's no challenge with that, but I'm saying that it's nothing new. So what kind of celebration is it? If you say you are creating jobs, this for me is necessarily is not job creation, because
100,000 more people have jobs.
100,000 more people, but what I'm saying is that even in 2016, we engaged 115,000. Though that included non-graduates. They should give us currently the number of non-graduates that they've employed under YEA. And let's put all that together. And we're saying that even if that is the case, that you are disaggregating, the numbers should be more than this. We voted a budget, some monies for NABCO in 2017. And again in 2018, we voted some monies for it. And these people are going to start work when? next month or this month?
They've begun work in earnest. So, by what we saw today.
Okay. So if they just started, that is about 3 or 4 months to the end of the year. I hope that they will give us some judicious account of the total amount of monies that were budgeted. That is, if those monies were spent at the end of the day. But seriously, I do not think that we are really addressing the unemployment challenge we have as a country. Apart from the 250,000 graduates that you talked about, that TUC alluded to, national service, on a yearly basis, we have 90,000 people, being churned out from national service. And so, the volume of young people that we have on hand is quite colossal. And one would have imagined that if we really want to address the unemployment problem, we should not be celebrating this. I would have thought that the 1D1F would have by this time come upstream, and that would have actually absorbed young people. That would have been innovative mechanism and ways, as it were, to generate employment, but not what we are witnessing today. And that is why I'm surprised that the president is celebrating this and showering praises on the vice president. The original idea was even from the YEA coordinator and the chairman of his board, Mr. Samia Oku, because I saw it on their website and I asked questions at the time, and they told me that these are new things.
So you are now even questioning the fact that it's been attributed to Dr. Ibrahim.
All the same, it's all MP, it's an all NDP affair. But I'm saying that those who actually originated the whole thing, the concept, to disaggregate, was not the vice president. It was Samia Oku and the gentleman in charge of YEA. But that notwithstanding, I'm saying that when we have professional nurses who have trained, 32,000 of them, who have legitimate contracts with government to be absorbed after their training, and we are not absorbing them, but rather we are asking them to go under NABCO, where they will be paid 700 Ghana cedis. Even the amount of money that we are paying the graduates in it is demotivating enough. And that will necessarily defeat what the president said, that it will, as it were, lead to hard work and dedication. It cannot. It is demotivating, and therefore you are asking.
But you speak about the fact that this is demotivating. Well, looking at the factors, the economic challenges in the country, but these are people who are at point zero. We saw it in the report. People being in the house, was them ADS and so, and now they have the opportunity to acquire skills and get some stipends. How is this demotivating?
You see, some of these people would have anyway been absorbed under YEA without a pomp and pageantry.
YEA does not have that capacity. That's what at least that's what has been proven over the years.
See, that is why I'm saying that every institution, must grow. And in growing the YEA was the reason why the YEA coordinator and then the board chairman came up with this idea, to create Heal Ghana and etc. under the YEA. So if the leadership of our government see it as a very good thing and they decide to trumpet it, I think it is unnecessary to trumpet it the way they have done, because they are not really creating anything new. We are talking about job creation, And so if you are absorbing 100,000 or 90,000 of these young people under this new creature called NABCO, which obviously was birthed out or taken out of an existing one, there's nothing to celebrate. For me, you have not created anything new. That is my argument. So we must be thinking outside the box of more innovative ways of really creating jobs for young people. I get saddened when I hear people say that we have created jobs in the public sector. What is happening in the public sector is nothing but job replacement. They've given clearance. Government has given clearance that about 50,000 people can be engaged. And so we hold a big press conference to announce this.
What you are talking about is different from the NABCO matter.
No, it's all about unemployment. And you say, you've created jobs. That also is not job creation. And so if we are looking at addressing the unemployment problem, we must think of some strategic approach. I would have thought that if the 1D1F was up and rolling by this time, even if it's 18 factories that have been established, those 18 factories would have actually absorbed some reasonable number of young people, and that would have been a new creation, a new entity with a new identity. But what we have currently is like scratching the surface of the problem. Okay,
all right. So clearly the opinion is divided around the table. Dr. Anyass believes that this is innovative. They want to disaggregate the numbers in terms of graduate unemployment and those who are unemployed with no certification in terms of graduate or tertiary education and all of that. Honorable Quashiga, on the other hand, says really there is nothing innovative about this. This is just a duplication of the YEA. But there are still further questions that linger on the issues of sustainability. There are even issues of whether there even exists an exit plan and all of that. We'll take a break and we'll be back to delve into further issues. This is the point of view.
See Auntie Mansa, she just received money straight into a mobile money wallet from her husband in the UK, right in time to pay her school fees. Yes, so now you can receive money from abroad directly into any mobile money wallet in just minutes. All your loved one needs is your name, address, and phone number. They can send online at MoneyGram.com or by visiting a MoneyGram location. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
City TV is live. City TV is a free-to-air digital channel. On a digital TV, please press menu on your remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a multi-TV digibox. Tune into City TV and experience your world. City TV, it's your world.
This is the point of view on City TV. My name is Duke Mentopoku. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Bernardino Koku Avle. Now, before I went on the break, we were looking at the basic issues surrounding NABCO and what even has necessitated the creation of NABCO in the first place. I have with me Dr. Ibrahim Anyass, who is the CEO of the NABCO secretariat, and Honorable Quashiga, who is the deputy ranking member on the employment committees, MP for Keta as well. Now, Dr. Anyass, let's look at the differences between what already existed. We've had YEA, we've had LESDEP, we've had YESDEC, we've had Graduate Business Support Scheme, what has even now been turned to NEIP, where all different variations of giving graduates some form of support or even some form of employment. What is the distinction between all of these other things that we've had and NABCO, and what lessons have we picked from the failures of such schemes in the past? For instance, YEA, as against what we are implementing now, which is the NABCO.
Thank you very much. I had a couple of issues with the presentation from Honorable Richard Quashiga, because I find it quite curious, because Honorable is the lead, part of the leadership on the Employment Committee of Parliament. And my sense is that careful thinking goes into deciding parliamentary committees in terms of the sort of work that needs to go on at the parliamentary committee level. And in terms of concerns over unemployment among members of parliament, I think that there has to be high regard for what this government has done in terms of the dip in the numbers of the unemployed among the graduates. Whatever the politics, this comes down to real people. Keta is a big constituency, and I don't have the statistics, I can find that out, of how many people from Keta went online to apply And in the end, how many people that are going to be hired in Qatar?
But you spoke of averagely 345 people in
basically in terms of averaging,
yes, average.
For
every district.
For every district, so that there was parity and so that there will not be concentration in urban areas to the disadvantage of, for example, rural districts. So the attempt was made to bring about some parity across of every constituency, 350. So, I mean, even on that conservative figure, the average of 350. Now, these are real people. I don't recall how long Honorable Quashiga has been in Parliament, but for those that have stayed in Parliament for so long, if you ask them, one of their biggest concerns among their constituents is unemployment. And for all the brown envelopes that they receive when they are returning from their constituency, for however many years they have spent in Parliament, it's a very difficult and challenging thing to find a single job for a graduate in this country.
By brown envelopes, you're referring to applications.
Applications. I'm not talking. Okay. Has it got other connotations? Okay. I was just specifically talking about. No, I'm talking about the sort of CVs. We use them as brown envelopes.
Yes.
So if you go to his car now as a member of Parliament, no, actually, I'm talking about employment and unemployment. And so a big concern and an agenda on every member of Parliament. And so it will surprise me that this will not be regarded highly among committee members of the Employment Committee, Select Committee of Parliament. And if you reduce it down to the real people, and I'm just drilling down to the numbers, for a member of Parliament to be able to find, over a period of 4 years, 10 to 50 jobs for people in their constituency. And you can ask, he's a member of Parliament, right? And he can put that to test among his own people in his constituency. So when a government comes in and is able to take the heat off every district and every constituency, to engage young people for a period of 3 years through a structured work and learning program, they're placed in an institution to earn skills, to go through a lot of work readiness and skills upgrading so that their future of employability is guaranteed regardless of NABCO. While at it, they are paid a stipend and government invests further in the skills training. Doc. What could be wrong with a scheme like that?
Okay. Doc,
so that is just by way. That is just by way of putting it into context. So I think that we should ground this in the context of real people.
Yes.
And that is why I'm referring to the constituency, the very constituency issues. Think about it. The NABCO, it's different to anything we have had in existence in this country. It doesn't matter how you try to spin this. The YEA, and it's a legislation, the Youth Employment Agency, I think it's Act 887.
Yes.
And the Act specifically suggests how the scheme has to be run. It's a youth employment agency that is targeted at a certain age cohort without a qualification point. So if it says from 15 to 35 without a qualification point, it doesn't suggest that you must have a certain qualification to befit a certain category of job. It's just the sort of global communication of unemployment, which I had hinted earlier on. Think about our context in Ghana. I went to university, I was quite young, but I had colleagues who sat with me in political science, right, who were already mature and were married and had children, some had grandchildren. If someone like that exited university, they don't fall in the context of the YEA. If that is the only youth employment agency that we have to cater for people who are just within the 35
but
age bracket.
But people who worked with YEA who were graduates.
So that's the whole point I'm making. But the legislation gives them a barrier, puts a barrier forward at the age, it caps it at age 35 because it's a youth employment agency. Legislation we're talking about.
Okay.
So the whole essence of NABCO was to make sure that you provision for everyone with the qualification point, regardless of their age, whenever they exit tertiary campuses. Very basic. The other thing to look at is this country has got specific challenges in our public service sector, right, in terms of delivery of services, in education, in health, in agriculture, in the digitization projects that the government has embarked on, in the governance structures from the national through to the local structures, in all the aspects to do with the growing of micro to small, medium enterprises. Now, it's only a visionary leadership that can provision for the sort of future careers and jobs that Ghana is going to be having in the next 5-10 years, and to prepare its current workforce, the intellectual infrastructure that we have, which is the graduates who are emerging from our tertiary, to be ready to exploit those opportunities. Otherwise, you're building a transformed nation for other people. Okay. So this was the thinking that went into building a graduate employment scheme. This country has never had a graduate employment scheme. From Nkrumah to date, no one can belie that. Honorable can spin it anyhow he likes. It doesn't change the reality or the fact. And the fact simply remains, this is a structured work and learning program. It's unlike the YEA. The dictate of His Excellency the President was that the YEA would concentrate on the non-graduate component to deal with all the other issues that we have in that sector. And then from this point on, we can distinguish the high skilled and the manpower requirements that are required in the public service to be able to deliver in certain critical areas. The National Service was hinted at. Since when did the National Service become an employment agency? Of course, it's the grandfather of all sort of youth schemes that we are all familiar with in terms of harnessing the manpower for nation building, correct?
Yeah.
But nothing like a structured, sustained, over a 3-year period, so that someone can take a newspaper today, the very reasons that were out of unemployment because they looked at the paper and said that they required 2-year experience, they were required to provide 3-year experience. They don't have that because you can never get that on national. When even we did 2-year national service, post-6 form and post-university, it still didn't guarantee you any solace in that dimension. So these are different schemes, and it's important that we put that in context. I think that we've gone past those conceptual discussions. We are at implementation stage. The people you saw at Independence Square, real people telling their real stories. And I think that when they hear presentations such as what we have heard, that is actually a kick in the teeth that for all that you have labored to do, to go and do an application online, to go ahead and attend a rigorous interview with a panel of 5 people, most of those who went to the interviews, 127,000 of them, they gave us feedback post the interview. A third of that number, over 46,000 of them, had never attended interviews before. NABCO was their very first interview experience that they have ever had. Right? These are real people with real stories. And it's in everybody's district and in everybody's town and villages for us to appreciate what has been going on. So please, let's let's not theorize, because I have been dealing with these matters for several months. If you can imagine what a lot of these youngsters have been through, I don't think that this sort of discussion will be
two things now
going on at those levels.
2 things now. They are paid stipends of 700 Ghana cedis. There are concerns that, well, they may not be anything like a SNED contribution or something for them of that sort, which some have even argued that may be illegal. Again, there's also the concern that you put them through 3 years, then what? What is the exit plan? So the matter of SNED contributions, or even, there are some of the models under the YE where there's a certain deduction. So after they are going out, there's some lump sum that is given to them if they want to go and set up something, is given to them. What is the exit plan with regards to NABCO? After 3 years, then what?
So this is a country of laws, and thankfully there's a member of parliament here. So there are examples in schemes that have been designed for specific purposes to run programs such as the one we have done. The NABCO is a government program under the Office of Government Machinery that is targeted at supporting a lot of initiatives that government has. Honorable Quashiga hinted at what the one district, one factory could achieve for us. Now, the examples are abound, and you can research this. 700 Ghana was agreed for how much they were supposed to earn. But I have stated here, the NABCO is a work and learning program. Nobody, and I am surprised at this, no media house has ever challenged me on the other component, which is as equally important of what the NABCO is. Exactly. But for us at the NABCO, the whole essence of the scheme, I think the easiest bit is job placement, right? They declare a place, you go and place the person there because it's demand-driven. The most challenging aspect of what the NABCO has been created to do is the value addition processes to skill these guys. If you looked at a job advert, their foundational qualification, which is a degree or a diploma, is just one bullet point among many. We are attempting to address all the other competencies. If it's digital skills, if it's communication, if it's customer relations, whatever work readiness skills that are required. In a reverse fashion, we're supposed to address this so that the same graduate who was out of employment can pick the paper 3 years down the line.
And it will be more valuable.
No, the newspaper, and then they will realize that they now meet all these criteria. And regardless of NABCO would have contributed something. That is the whole essence of the value addition. This is trackable. You can track this, and you can track the impact. And for me, that's why I insist. We have never had the like of this before. You can place people in institutions to work. It doesn't guarantee their future employability. And what we're targeting at the core of what we're doing is employability. Exit arrangements. We believe that with this sort of value addition, the graduates could fly by themselves without needing any help. Nonetheless, we have structured arrangements for their exit.
Which is what?
Number one, if you imagine City FM, and I don't know how long you've been here, and I don't know, you can tell us how
quite
long
you've been
here?
From 2015.
Okay, so that's been a while. So if you imagine that if today you received 5 NABCO trainees who will be with you till whenever, 2 years, 3 years, and you had the need to look for more staff, but these were still NABCO trainees with you, you hadn't taken them on permanent basis. Would you rather consider those people who have been within your context and have worked hard and justified their value and have built an institutional memory and a lot of experience to support productivity here, or would you be looking elsewhere? Most of these people are likely to gain retention, but as the president said, they must justify their value.
Okay,
it's not given. Number one, that's retention.
That's one. Two.
The other bit of it is that you can just imagine that you cannot have 100,000 people. There are always those among us who are into the self-employment bit. They want to start up their own businesses. And we hinted at very creative ways we can sort of create various cooperatives among these
That's
groups.
for those under enterprise Ghana.
Not just enterprise, but for enterprise, we selected a few among the core 500 to be mentored by business leaders with a dedicated funding at the 3rd year, so they don't have to stay on the scheme. They would have matured in the incubation by the 2nd year, and then they will have access to the funds to be able to start. But they will end up hiring their peers. The other component to look at is that having the benefit of being on NABCO, if you were the type of graduate who didn't even pay attention to why you read a particular course at the university or the polytechnic, this will give you the allowance to now think through carefully, having been out of employment, to define your own career pathway. So if you were to engage in further learning, you're now going to engage in very focused decisions and judgments about what programs you're going to consider for further learning that should lead you towards a career. And there are those among the 100,000 who are going to pursue, because these are people with HND and some of them diplomas. You don't expect them to retire on their diploma after 3 years. No, they will transition into some kind of further learning. All these things, these are natural processes. We cannot overcook this. These are natural processes that should play out without anyone even trying to enforce those. But, of course, you'd always have the skeptics think that this is a road leading nowhere. But why should that be your responsibility? Coming back to your city example, to retain someone who didn't showcase any value in your organization.
Okay, let me move to the Honorable Quashiga now. Yeah. This looks like a well thought out, structured. I mean, when you look at the exit plan, even though Doc skillfully did not, address the issue of SNIT issue, because SNIT, what do you call it, contributions. But that's fine. It's wrong, because this looks like a very structured program that has a well thought out exit scheme, not just raising issues for the sake of opposition.
Thank you so much, Jude. Clearly, what one has maintained is that this program is not new. Whether it's well thought out, well structured or not, it is not new. And I do not know what he was trying to allude to earlier when he said he does not know how long I've been in Parliament and blah, blah, blah. I don't know where that was leading to. But the fact is this. The program is not new. It is not innovative, some new thing that you have come up with. It already existed under YEA.
But he said that there was a cap on the age bracket
No, of course,
for
age bracket, but
which does not exist.
But even the example he gave as to people who had grandchildren and children before coming to school, oftentimes those people are even workers. Oftentimes, people coming to school, very mature people who are in the 50s. I had classmates age 65 in the UK. You know, these are usually people who are on their own or they are employed. But largely, the group of people that we have a problem with is between 15 and 35, largely. And if you want to extend it a lot more, then maybe 40. Jude, when you came to CTFM, did you need any special training? You learned on the job, isn't it? You came with your degree, they interviewed you, and then they thought that you could do the job. They gave you the job, and they were you were put on probation. You were paid how much you're supposed to be paid. You started working over a period of time. You have gained enough experience. Now, somebody graduates from the university. He holds a first degree, or an HND, or even a master's degree, and you think that necessarily he has to be put through some training in order for him to become extraordinarily skilled before he can move on into some other areas. I think that one probably is a way of buying time in order probably to create the necessary avenue for addressing the unemployment.
And that's not good enough?
I'm not saying it's not good enough, and I'm saying that in itself already existed. The process was already there. So why the fanfare? That is my biggest concern. That is the biggest concern. We are saying that they have not come up with anything new. And if you are saying that there is unemployment in Ghana, graduate unemployment especially, and you think this is the best way of addressing it. By the way, let them tell us how many unemployed graduates we have in this country. Do they have the statistics? Such that when you employ even 100,000, then you think it's a great thing that has been done. Or we've solved the problem. No. We have not even scratched the surface of the problem.
I don't think he said so far.
No, I'm not saying, I'm inferring.
But they're just making... Yeah.
Okay, I'm inferring. You see, and I'm saying that even being the case, 2016, we had both non-graduates and graduates, 115. When these people were being employed, nobody celebrated it. Until the report came to Parliament by way of the budget statement. A lot of people didn't even know about it. So why are they making so much, I wouldn't say noise, but why are they over celebrating this?
So for you then, exit planning is also not workable.
The exit plan, before I come to that, you mentioned SNAIT. You see, these are people who obviously took student loan, isn't it?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Some of them. And they will be expected to pay when they start working. So are they also going to pay that one out of this 700, which has devalued? At the time we mentioned 700, when it came to Parliament, 700. The dollar was 4 cedis something. Today the dollar is 5 cedis and is still climbing. That money, the 700, has been devalued. Seriously. And I would have thought that by this time, they would be mentioning 800 or even more. Okay? The exit plan, after 3 years, what next? He spoke beautifully about the mechanisms that he put in place.
He's speaking about retention.
And etc. Possibility of 1D, 1F coming upstream, some of them moving into those areas and etc. Yes, we hope and pray that the 1D, 1F materializes the way it is expected, because we were told that the first year 50 of those factories were going to be created, established. They have not been established. Even where we are, 20 months down the line, we have only been told that 18 have been accredited. And that in itself leaves a lot to worry about. You see, nobody is trying to play politics with these issues. I was one of the first persons to commend this government when it took that bold step to deal with illegal mining in the country. So I will commend you when I think what you are doing is really in the interest of Ghana.
But for you, on this NABCO, it's not commendable at all.
I am saying it's not new. What are we celebrating?
Okay.
It is not new at all, because the thing was packaged under something else. You have just, separated it from that.
But is unemployment new?
Unemployment is not new. But I'm saying that.
What's the extent of unemployment?
I was very careful not to interject.
No, I'm really surprised. Can I just give a clarity to an issue, just to assist the conversation? No, I'm just trying to assist
the issues. Yes. This is still the point of view. Don't go away.
Ain't you into the Breakfast Daily on City TV? Stoneboy says so. Keep it locked. Don't log off.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
And that is the reason I was making the point to him that I refrained from responding to this Joyce Bauer statement. Because if some citizens have accused President Mahama of diverting a certain amount of money, deal with that, deny same, and move on with your life.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.
Ever thought about where you'd really want to live or invest? Is it beautiful, modern, and sustainable? Is the architecture advanced with state-of-the-art facilities? What if I told you you could find it only 15 minutes away from Adenta? When your hard work pays off, you need to invest in the right place. High-quality real estate appreciates in value. But the value is not just your home. It is also the area that surrounds it. Good roads with safe speed limits, drainage for even the most punishing floods, and neighborhood planning that ensures your view will never change. You can also invest in the commercial, social, and mixed business spaces, as well as Apollonia Business Park. It's time to make your move to Apollonia City. Call or visit us today. Our payment plans are tailored for you. Visit www.apollonia.com.gh or call 0275 577 577.
This is the point of view. We are live on City TV. My name is Duke Mensopoko. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Bernard Avle. Before we went on that break, we were talking about the exit plan for NABCO. Opinion still sharply divided between the Honorable Deputy Ranking Member on Employment, Minority Member of Parliament for Keta, and the CEO for the NABCO Secretariat, Dr. Anyass. Ibrahim, let's look at some of the comments that have been coming in so far. Obviously, a lot of people are interested in this conversation. This one from Felix Anku. It says, please, we the NABCO trainees have not started work yet. We don't even know our institutional placement yet, nor do we know our stand. So your comment earlier that we have started is not. Kindly find out from Dr. Anyass when we will be receiving our institutional placement. So Dr. Anyass, that's one for you to note down. This one from Seni Takradi says, the issue of NABCO is not a bad idea and shouldn't be politicized, but the salary is problematic. I hope the government will increase the amount with time. Abdul Rashid in Tamale says, my worry is the frequency and alacrity with which the beneficiaries will be receiving their monthly allowances, since we are told the funds for payment of NABCO allowances will be coming from the District Assembly's Common Fund, which is always in arrears. David North K says, I think it's a good initiative, credit to the government to help curb the unemployment challenges amongst graduates. I pray that they won't come and tell us there is no money for the subsequent months. This one says, I'm a NABCO. Hello, Duke. Ask the NABCO CEO what happens to those of us who did not make it to the last one from Dada says, I hope NABCO won't treat the youth like how Forestry Commission is treating youth in afforestation workers. Ghana. Okay, so we wrapping up thoughts, Dr. Anyass. When there are concerns, obviously from our viewers, there's not been any placement. The frequency with which the allowances will be paid.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, this comes back to the whole argument about context. These are real people, I don't know, I mean, that are part of your viewership who are contributing to this. And they raise very valid issues, which tells you that they're following every step of the way what we're doing. As of this morning's event, 99,811 people had been selected for the Nation Builders Call. Out of that, 93,000 people have accepted or confirmed online. And when they confirm, it becomes the basis for us to issue a contract that we're with them. Now, that contract bit is the institutional placement. So from beyond selection, we now do placement.
And would that take place? The
placement has commenced as we speak because that was the essence of the program that was done today. All the module implementation partners you saw there, the GRA, the GIFEC, all those people, they were there making those statements to tell you that they were ready to receive these people.
When would they start work? That's their concern. When? The timeline?
This month, listen, the NABCO is a work and learning program. You decide what bit becomes the priority. We recognize a lot of these people have been out of employment and require the pre-deployment training before you onboard them. The module implementing partners have been concerned about this, so they don't arrive at the work and not ready. And so they front-loaded that component into October ahead of their deployment. So they're currently working through with them, and all of them are supposed to have notifications the way we've always reached them before the end of this month because they are already in the scheme. It's a work and learning program. The learning bit has been going on. You can ask them. You can open the lines again and ask them. They'll tell you in their districts, in their regions, they have been going through various levels of training, getting them ready to start the program.
Let's look at the bit
that is one. The bit about salary. I think that this is based on...
because youth in afforestation.
I know. There's a benchmarking that goes on when you're crafting huge numbers, when you're dealing with schemes such as ours, because there are concerns that, okay, the numbers are so huge. 70 million Ghana cedis every month to pay NABCO stipends. So valid concerns about whether or not that is going to be frequent or the frequency is going to be somehow haphazard. That is unlikely to be the case. What has been agreed is that an honourable member of parliament is here and he's on the committee of employment as well. He has alluded to the budget support that has been given to this for this year.
So there's ready budget support, the money will come.
It's there, they voted for it, appropriation has been done, they know. The 600 million that was voted is there as the money that was allocated for this. 70 million for the final quarter by 3 months, that's 210 million, right? The component of the trading works out at 7 million every month for their training. If you multiply that as well, that's just 21 million. And then you have the administrative cost and the rollout and implementation. So we have no problems in that regard. They just have to wait and start.
For your closing thoughts.
Those who are concerned about not being selected, you know that at the placement stage, NABCO is demand-driven, and so there are those who are going to end up on the waiting list. It doesn't exclude them. It means that as and when opportunities present, then we onboard them. And so there's a win for everyone.
Dr. Quashiga, what's the alternative from your side? What could have been done? Because since you say this is not new, you obviously do not agree with the tangent that government is going on with handling this matter.
Basically, this program would still have been a continuing program as part of YEA. Disaggregation could have been done still under YEA, the umbrella of YEA.
So the NABCO bureaucracy is not necessary?
It's not necessary. That is duplication. Now we have a whole bureaucracy in place, for graduates. And that also costs money because doctor will have to be paid. If that were not the case, probably the current coordinator for YEA is the only one who would be paid. Others will be working under him and etc. But here we have Dr. Anyass with his staff, his secretariat. They will also now be paid. You are getting the point. So clearly, we are duplicating something. And that is going to cost the Ghanaian a lot more money. Whereas this program could comfortably have been handled and dealt with under the agency that initially was doing it without necessarily going through all these. But you see, those... And
we will be wrapping up on
that. Yeah, they made some valid comments about salary. We all know what is happening with afforestation and etc. Okay? And even with YEA, there have been times where there were challenges for payment. Indeed, Parliament has voted some money. But voting the money necessarily does not mean that it is there for the picking. we hope and pray that the Minister of Finance would duly release to them what is due them.
Okay.
Again, there are some conflicting situations where we've all heard that this will be paid, these young people will be paid through the DACF.
Obviously, that's not the case.
No. I mean, that
because there's an amount which was mentioned by the finance minister.
600,000.
So that is not 600 million. So that's
agree. But we hope. But you see, sometimes things can be done clandestinely. Sometimes we've had situations like that in this country. So we hope that that would not become the norm. Would go but then monies that have been voted for this program in Parliament will be adhered to, and that structure is what should be followed.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Richard Quashiga is Member of Parliament for Keta, is Deputy Ranking Member for Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises in Parliament. We're also joined by Dr Ibrahim Anyass, who is the CEO of the Nation Builders Corps, NABCO Secretariat. My name is Duke Mensopoko. This has been the point of view I sat in for your regular host, Bernard Koku-Avle. We hope you've been left with better understanding of the matters as we look forward to the implementation of the Nation Builders Corps. Good night.